Hey there, Light Fam. Had a spiritual awakening, and now you're in the dark night of the soul, feeling confused, frustrated, stuck, so much pain and chaos. Well, don't worry. I've got some powerful energetic shifts that you can make today to ease you through the dark night of the soul process. Coming up right now. Let's go. Awakening, dark night of the soul. All right, guys. So the first powerful energetic shift that I want you guys to do is surrender to the process in a playful and curious state. So why surrender? First of all, surrender is releasing control. Who is the master of control? Ego. Who don't we want in the driver's seat? Ego. But now why playful? Playful takes you out of that resistant fight or flight survival state. Why curious? Curious puts you in that looking forward to energy. See how this is the opposite frequency of I'm trapped in the dark night of the soul and I don't know what to do. Awakening, dark night of the soul. Okay, guys, here is an exercise that I want you guys to try. When I say playful and curious, envision yourself as the mad scientist that is adjusting your perspective, your energy, your identity to see how that affects the physical outcome of being in the dark night of the soul. For example, let's say that you were to practice deep breathing and mindfulness. Does that change your emotional chemistry? What if you were to put your bare feet in the grass for 20 minutes and then journal about your future self? How does that change how your physical environment responds to you? What if you were to speak words of kindness, encouragement, and love to yourself? Does that ease you out of fight or flight survival mode? What if you were to stop identifying as being in the dark night of the soul and start to identify as evolving, growing, expanding into a more free, loving, powerful, peaceful, and sovereign being? Would your physical environment then reflect back the physical evidence of that new identity? Now, I want you to understand this as you're asking the questions and then taking the physical action behind these playful and curious musings. What's happening? You're changing. You're growing. You're evolving. Your identity is changing. Your story is changing. The new identity is just habitual behaviors in alignment with the new identity. And what is the whole point of the dark night of the soul? To birth the new identity. Awakening, dark night of the soul. Here's the next powerful energetic shift that I want you guys to really understand. You feel so much pain and resistance in the dark night of the soul because you are clinging on for dear life to that old identity that you used to be. I'm definitely going to say that one again. You feel so much pain in the dark night of the soul because you're clinging on to that old identity that you used to be. Well, guess what? They don't make that model anymore. Why? Because it's outdated and ill-equipped to go to where your heart wants you to go to. You can't take abandonment trauma to that higher timeline where you're living sovereign and at peace. You can't take chasing validation, passive aggressive behavior, and people pleasing to the higher timeline where you are living free and a fulfilling life on your own terms, making a difference in the world. No, you've got to release what has released you. Subconsciously, that old identity has released you because it knows that it can't go to where your heart is trying to get you to. Ever take an old car to the dealership to trade in? And then as you're walking away from the car, you feel that tug in your stomach, like you're really going to miss this car. And you think, man, that car and I have been through so much. There's some crazy stories that car got me home in the midst of all kinds of stuff. Yeah, but then when you sit in the new car and you drive off the lot in the new car, you completely forget about the old car. This is the same process. When you let go of that old identity and step into the new identity, you completely forget about the old identity. And then you look back on that old identity and you're like, man, I don't even know what I was thinking back then. I'm just not that same person. I can't even imagine thinking the way that I used to think. I can't even imagine allowing what I used to allow. in my life. I can't even imagine acting the way that I used to act. Yeah, that's called spiritual evolution. And what is the point of the dark night of the soul? To evolve spiritually. So let go of the identity that you used to be so that you can evolve into who you want to be. I love you guys. Namaste.